This week on Security Weekly, Mike Strouse, CEO of ProXPN, joins us. In the security news for this week, we're going to talk about IoT and all of the horrible things it will do to society and the vulnerabilities that will be exploited to then cause more bad things that will happen to society. Let's see, 5 reasons that you're doing things wrong with your incident response program. We'll cover that as well, all that and more, so stay tuned.
Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, the show where exploits run wild. Packets aren't the only things getting sniffed. Systems aren't the only things getting penetrated. Functions are the only things getting wrapped. Bits aren't the only things getting banged. And the cocktails, they flow steady. It's Paul Security.
Black Hills Information Security, the leaders in penetration testing and active defense. Email consulting@blackhillsinfosec.com to request a quote today. Onapsis, the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business-critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsis.com. Pony Express. Check out their line of penetration testing devices, including the Pwn Pad, the Pwn Phone, and the Pwn Pro. For enterprises, there's Pwn Pulse, providing continuous visibility into wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth spectrums across all physical locations, including remote sites and branch offices. For all those hard-to-reach places, there's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com.
And here's your host. Here's a man.
When you said here's a man, they cut to you.
Yeah, here's a man. All right, they got that right. But here's another man that always knows how to find it, if you know what I mean. And usually it is somewhere in his pants. Mr. Paul Asadorian.
And it is not maple syrup, just in case you were wondering.
No,
It's an inside joke.
Because usually you want to use the maple syrup on the outside,
Yes.
not the inside.
Not the inside. Very bad. For external use only is what I would recommend. How did we get here right away?
You started it.
As Larry said, I'm your host, Paul Asadorian. I am joined here in studio, of course, by, excuse me, none other than Mr. Larry Pesce. Drinking cocktails in studio, Larry.
Absolutely.
Nice to have you here.
Yes.
And
Fun show in store this week.
Yes, it is. Of course, Mr. Jeff Mann is here in studio, making his regular appearance.
Happy to be back again, Paul.
Yes, nice to have you,
Good
Jeff.
to see you, Larry. Missed you the last couple times.
Yeah. It's been crazy.
It has.
Yeah, we got 3 people here in studio. It's very nice.
Yeah.
On the lines via Skype, we're joined by Mr. Joff Thayer. Joff, welcome to the show.
G'day, Paul. Good to see you, mate. It's another lovely Thursday evening. It's awfully good to be here.
It's a wonderful day in paradise, you know?
It is.
Even if by paradise we mean it's going to be -7 this weekend. But
Yeah, well, that's what. Hey, it's getting cold down
Well,
south, too. So.
it is a wonderful day in paradise, Paul. Just didn't say that paradise was in this particular location
Right.
where we are stationed.
So, this just in, make sure you vote for us in the RSA Social Security Bloggers Awards for Best Security Podcast. We are not nominated this year, so you have to write it in. So if you go to securityweekly.com/vote, I'm told as long as you have a valid email address and a valid IP address,
Yep.
I guess. Well, I guess
and
you need a valid
you-
IP address to get to the website. But
Yep. I just went and read the site, and it says
Yeah.
that anyone can vote
anyone can vote,
once per IP address.
and once per email address.
For exit notes, and star.
And no, it can't be once per IP, because we could get a lot of IP. Well, we're not encouraging the people cheat, is what we're saying. Do
Right.
not cheat.
But I will say, I will encourage people to vote, because how awesome would that be for a write-in candidate
Right.
to vote, to win?
That's right.
No, you see, it goes like this. We're not encouraging people to cheat, but we are encouraging people to A, vote for us, and B, always be creative in your endeavors, whatever you're doing.
And I think in this case, the being creative in the endeavor is getting us to win as a write-in candidate, not to game
Yes.
the system.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if you listen to the show and you like the show, then go vote and vote for us. Write it in. Write Security Weekly in there. Write it in.
If you listen to
and
the
go
show,
True,
and
and
you
you don't
even if
like
you
the
don't
show.
like the show,
No,
go
that's
and
not
vote.
what I said. For the record,
No,
that
that's-
is not what I said.
That's not what Paul said. That's what Jeff and I said. If you listen to the show and you even think it's mediocre,
Yeah. Mediocre at best. That'll be our new slogan. Welcome to Security Weekly. Mediocre at best. So make sure you also check out InfoSec World, returning to Disney's Contemporary Resort on April 4th through the 6th, 2016. Over 100 industry experts will share hands-on practical advice on a range of security topics. So make sure you go check that out. I think is it infosecworld.com? I don't have the URL here.
it's most likely.
We were just discussing how well we can all use Google here in the security community, so I'm sure that
We
you
can
can find.
And speaking of Orlando, next week I will be at the Sands ICS Summit taking a class, or auditing a class, I should say. So I will be there. Come find me. Say hi. I was told by work that I am to buy beers. So, I mean,
Hey, if you have the corporate credit card, buy away.
I don't have a corporate credit card, but I have an expense account.
There you go. There you go.
Wow, I'll be right there, Larry.
And permission from the CFO to get reimbursed for 1 out of every 15 beers that I purchase. I mean,
That's it?
Yeah. It's
What's
a
everyone
joke.
else going to drink?
I don't know. I don't know. But in any case, I'll be there next week and having lots of fun.
Our very special guest for this evening is Mike Strouse, CEO of ProXPN. Mike, welcome to the show, all the way from Thailand. Welcome.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
He is in
Glad
fact,
to be on.
He is in fact from the future.
Yes, he is from the future. Hopefully things are okay in the future. We want to welcome ProXPN as the most recent sponsor of Security Weekly, and we're glad Mike could join us this evening. Mike, how did you get started in the security industry?
Out of necessity, really. One of the old industry that I was in, we'd go to trade shows all the time, and there was a group of black hatters that would follow every trade show, hop on the hotel Wi-Fi, and sniff everyone's affiliate program passwords, compromise their systems, and get all their email lists. So we never connected anything without a VPN. And once I moved over to Thailand, it occurred to me that this is something that probably everyone could use, not just to be able to get around geo-IP restrictions, but living in a country where every packet is sniffed by the government.
Interesting.
So that said, are you
ahead.
using a VPN right now?
No, I'm not for this particular video call because we're having technical difficulties with the connection between you and me. And my fiber is not yet upgraded. But typically, yeah, everything I do, I have a router that's always on, so every device now sits on the VPN and appears to be coming from an American IP.
Smart.
So, Mike, what are some of the most common use cases other than open Wi-Fi that you see people using this VPN? Like, what's the need?
It runs a gamut, but primarily it's because people don't want to have their data intercepted and deal with the issues of whether torrenting or high video usage. They were shaping traffic for Netflix in the US for quite a while, and arguably still are on Comcast. This way your data doesn't look like anything, so they can't mess with your connection no matter what you're doing and what you're watching. Obviously, the travel's a big one. Doesn't matter if you're on Wi-Fi or on a hotel LAN. It's not a good idea on a public network to ever be on open internet. VPN's always going to be a better connection. But it's mainly the privacy. People know that everything they do online is anonymous the way it used to be. It changes the way you are when you're surfing the internet, knowing that somebody's watching you. You think about what you're typing into the browser, what you're typing into Google.
Now, Mike,
This way.
There's a lot of VPN services that are out there on the market today. What separates ProXPN from the pack?
Well, lately, the big one is most of them are owned by one company. I'm not sure it's public knowledge or I should be saying it, but yeah, one large company was going out buying all the VPNs, and their biggest concern is profitability, not privacy. Whether they log or not is up in question. And that's what separates us, I think, is the fact that we don't log anything. We're very public about it, right down to having a canary clause in the website. So if anything ever does happen where we're forced to do something, you'll see the website stops updating the current date. So it'll say, as of XYZ date, we have not been compromised or had a gag order placed upon us and forced to turn on logging.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's really cool.
So, yeah, what's your policy about if a federal agency were to come to you for information about a particular client or customer?
Well, we have no information. We have nothing log. We have no logs, so there's nothing we can give them. If we're put in a situation where we're forced to enable logs or allow them to put some sort of device on the network which would compromise users' privacy, the canary clause would stop updating. We wouldn't overtly tell anyone that we're now being forced to log, but you would see on the privacy page the canary clause date would no longer be today's date. It would be a date in the past. At that point, all users would be wise to not use the service. I'd rather not take people's money than risk people's privacy.
No, that's pretty cool. That's an interesting way of dealing with that particular situation. So, Mike, talk about how the technology works. So I can be anywhere on the internet. I create a VPN connection to you, and then you essentially act as a proxy for my traffic. Is that roughly how it works?
That's exactly how it works.
So it's not. Do you have models where, let's say, I want to connect back to like my home office or like my studio or office here? Is there a model that makes that work, or are you more focused on the end user? Like, I just want privacy when I browse the internet, kind of thing.
Yeah, what you're describing is something that you'd have as a corporate setup where you wanted to access services within inside your corporate network. We don't do that. We strictly deal with the public. So it's basically guys that don't have a lot of technical skills that want to be able to VPN out of their current connection out to the internet without having any interception between where they are and where we are, bypassing the most vulnerable points of their connection.
So speaking of where you are, Mike, talk about your infrastructure, where your servers are located. Is it a global network?
Yeah, we've got servers in, well, I can't remember the list off the top of my head. Let me take a look real quick.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the page right now. It looks like from the old, from a screenshot, Miami, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, Amsterdam, Singapore, and London.
Oh, there's more than that. We got Paris, Stockholm, Frankfurt, Bucharest, Miami, Zurich. It changes all the time too. Iceland, it looks like. Yeah, we've got an Iceland server now. They pop them up all the time. When something goes down, something comes back up. We had a Bangkok server for a while. We're going to be bringing that back online this week as well.
So, Mike,
that's interesting to connect to see what's censored in Thailand.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's interesting.
So Mike, a lot of people listening to this show, I know, most likely have their own VPNs that they've set up on their own. What are some first advantages that your service has, over kind of the do-it-yourself thing? What do you recommend that they do if they're going to recommend this to someone else? Like, what is the pitch they can give to, hey, my mom or my grandma needs, private connection. Maybe my smaller customers or friends that own a small business, need some kind of solution. What's the pitch to them?
Well, ease of use. You just download a piece of software and click connect. There's no configuration, not to mention the fact that if you set your own setup, you're going to have one server. It's probably going to be located in your house or one data center. This way you have servers all over the world, and you're not only anonymized because of the service we provide, but you're also anonymized because of the sheer mass of users that we have. So it's like hiding within a needle within a stack of needles.
Right.
Interesting.
It is a lot simpler than trying to set up your own. I went through the process of setting up an OpenVPN server just to mess around with some new router hardware we're playing with. And it's not easy. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. Mind you, I haven't been in the technical side of it for a number of years, but for an average user, I think that would be nearly impossible.
Yeah, certainly. I've set up OpenVPN. I'm sure you would too, Larry, right? It takes some time.
Yep.
You have to do some Googling.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So I just did some IPsec VPNs on pfSense. And what a nightmare to make that work. And it's not in a state that I'd like it to be. I'd like it to be a little bit better. But trying to fix that problem is also a challenge, and just sometimes you don't have the time for that. So this is pretty cool.
Mike, a lot of people that I talk to in security, and I think for certain applications I'm just as skeptical when you're looking to go to a service that's in the cloud or outsourced like this. What can you tell people about the security of your own network and how that relates to the security of someone else's network they would set up themselves, or like how do you build trust with what you've built? That's
a really good question. That's something we've been trying to tackle as well. How do we prove that we're doing a good job? I'm open to suggestions for that. I know that's what we work on 24 hours, 7 days a week, and we take measures to ensure that we, even if we were compromised, by a hacker or whatnot. We don't have data that's of any use to them. We're not storing credit cards. All the usernames and passwords are hashed and salted. Beyond that, there's really not much we can do. We try and store as little data of the user as possible, other than what we need for strict billing records. And of course, we take Bitcoin. We have third-party websites you can buy redemption codes, and we take PayPal. So we're trying to store as truly as little data as possible. I don't want customer records on my network, and I don't want, of course, there's no logs. So there's very little of appeal to anyone that might want to compromise our network for nefarious reasons.
What's your policy for working with security researchers, and do you have a bug bounty program?
Not officially, but I've had a couple of guys come on and do vulnerability testing that we put on retainer because they're quite good, and it's nice to know when the exploits come out for web services or whatnot that might compromise parts of the non-database part of the system, like web front ends or advertising engines, things like that. I love it when people come in and test things out. That's how you learn about what your mistakes are.
Yeah,
in a nice way.
Yeah, and I think it was Matt who was telling me that you're really open to working with security researchers. You know, if they do find issues, you're open with speaking with them, and I think that's big in our community.
Oh yeah, I emailed back and forth directly. One guy found an issue where years and years ago when we first fired up that this is a really amateur one. When they connected the PPTP VPN, you could see the services of other users on the network, and at this point we had like 20 customers. But it was rather embarrassing. It was nice that he found that. I mean, you could see somebody's iTunes drive or whatever.
Sweet. Oh, you fixed that. Never mind.
Not really.
Yeah,
Like really. Sitting on the hotel Wi-Fi, you're like, oh, what's this guy got for music?
Well, yeah, that's why I said sweet, because I mean that's how you get some of the best porn. The curated collection. I mean, yeah.
No, that's great. I mean, being open with the security community, I think is important, especially for your technology. A lot of us in the community are very curious and will so-called stumble across things. And so if you do, obviously contact ProXPN, and they're happy to work with you. I think is a great message to send to the community. Larry or Joff, do you have?
I do.
Okay.
I definitely do.
Go ahead, Larry.
So Mike, thinking about about talking to law enforcement, and I'm not saying that I would personally want to use this for illegal purposes, but what's the thought? Do you guys you don't do logging? You don't do monitoring of outbound traffic? So what's the stance on any of the traffic that comes out of the VPN endpoints? What's to say that me, evil bad guy, wants to go and attack Google, and I use ProXPN to do it?
Hasn't happened yet. If it did, we'd have to implement some sort of short-term traffic monitoring on that particular node. We can usually isolate down the connected IP to a cluster of servers. So if we had to, we could. The only time there's a difference between law enforcement and another network requesting help, somebody spamming off of us, stuff like that. We don't want users using our network to cause harm across the internet. Otherwise, we'll start seeing our IPs get blackholed. But generally speaking, it doesn't happen a lot. I mean, it's one thing to be able to sign up for free. It's another thing to put your credit card in there to really get the bandwidth to do any damage. And it seems a lot of people aren't really willing to put their credit card into a service to try and use it to anonymize. There's better ways to become anonymous to commit crimes, and that Tor, whatnot, things like that.
Yep. And that would be one of the other things too. Like, I know in some of the cases that that folks might want to use that for other illicit activities. The one that comes to mind, and I hate to bring it up, is child pornography. So we'd hate to see the service get used for something like that. So,
well, touch wood, in 5 years, that's never happened. We've never had any law enforcement contacts for that. We've had one law enforcement contact in the last few years, which there's no gag order on it. Somebody was sending threatening emails to a school. And by the time the request for information came to us, it was like 4 months old. I mean, even on a regular network, you're not going to be able to get much logs for that.
Yep.
Let alone one that doesn't log at all.
Yep, good. Yeah, so and sort of as a follow-on to that, I can see for me as a benefit, I can see some value to having a paid account for something like that. We were working on a test recently that this may have come in kind of handy. It was like an external type penetration test in which it was multi-phased, and the network teams, the blue teams at the customer, were not aware of any of the stuff that was happening. So from phase 1 to phase 2, we were not allowed to use the same source IP addresses for any of our activity. This may have been a great opportunity for us to use a different endpoint or even one endpoint in addition to our additional stuff to send that traffic with permission, of course.
Oh, for sure.
So
Well,
that
and
might have
it's
worked out.
like what Mike's saying, it's a legitimate service. So
Yep.
if you were to use Tor for that, let's say your exploit is successful, how do you know who's running your Tor exit node?
Exactly.
Someone's
exactly.
going to sniff that exploit and go, oh, look, this company that's doing a test of another company XYZ is vulnerable to that and exploitable.
Boop.
Yep.
Yeah, my turn.
My turn.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Well put, Larry.
Yep.
So, Mike, what's the platform support look like? How many different OSs do you support?
Mac OS, Windows, of course, Android, and iOS.
Very nice.
Linux has unofficial support. There's even been a couple of clients that have built Bash clients as well as GUI interfaces for ProXPN. We are going to be releasing a Unix version because, touchwood, we might have a deal with a large computer manufacturer to become pre-installed on there. So that'd be
Nice.
kind of sweet.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Awesome. Good for you.
If I know that manufacturer, that would be actually really awesome.
It's not a done deal yet. It's probably about
Nope,
6 months out if it's going to happen at all.
That's why I didn't say who it was. But if it's the one I think it is, then it would be awesome.
Joff or Jeff, do you have questions for Mike?
Well, I had one, and maybe it's a naive question, but I'll ask it anyway. With your service, I've not looked into anything that you're doing, but with your service, do you allow your subscribers to elect which country their traffic comes from?
Of course, yeah, they can choose from a drop-down list. They can choose any exit anywhere in the world they want, and they can change it on the fly. They don't have to contact or swap. They just disconnect, pick a new server, and reconnect.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So I can see there's an appeal there for well, I'll give an example. A friend of mine for a while was living in Germany and wanted to watch a bunch of NFL stuff, and couldn't get it because of the geolocation stuff. So he decided to run a VPN service of his own at home, and I could see definitely an appeal there where they could use your service and drop out in the United States and be able to watch their NFL premium services or whatever needed to be. So yeah, it sounds
And
good.
oddly enough, that works a lot in both directions as well. There's a lot of people in Sweden that, or from Sweden, that want to watch Swedish TV on their version of Netflix, and they use the Swedish exit nodes while they're traveling. And really surprising me, there's a huge demand for the Chinese version of YouTube outside of China for people living in Taiwan that want to catch up on the Chinese soap. So that's the next server going online is going to be one right in the middle of China.
Yeah.
Also
that's
fun to connect to if you want to see what they're censoring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a node in the UK?
Yes, we do.
Okay, because I was going to say I know BBC often limits some of their streaming stuff to within the UK itself. So
Got to get your latest episodes of Doctor Who, right?
Yep. I mean,
There's a rumor too they're going to be launching their own streaming service shortly as well. So that might be the only way to get some of that content. They're pulling a lot of it off Netflix, I've heard.
It's sort of sad that these organizational entities do that they limit on GeoIP, but I mean it feeds your business model, so it makes good sense for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, that and Wi-Fi is everywhere, and open Wi-Fi is everywhere. And data plans suck now. I mean, if you happen to be grandfathered in, but a lot of times what's happening recently is you're grandfathered in. They're like, oh, well, I can cut you a sweet deal and give you a ton of data, and you can save a ton of money because you're paying more for this grandfathered in plan. And oh, by the way, we'll throw in a free tablet and just give us an extra $15 a month, and we'll add it to your data plan. Yeah, I couldn't pass that deal up, dude. Like, that saved us a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I think more and more mobile carriers are doing that to get people off that unlimited data. But now when you're not on unlimited data, you're like, I've got my my little hotspot, and it has my data plan right on it. It tells me, and then my kids are streaming stuff over the data plan, like when they're out and about. So at the end of the month, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to find some open Wi-Fi somewhere. And
the struggle, it's real.
Yeah, the struggle is real.
Yep.
The struggle
Yeah,
is real.
and that's an interesting point, Paul, because it really, I mean, I understand the motivations of the providers that cut back and like drop the data rates to 3G after you exceed your quota, but it's highly irritating because I was one of those people that was grandfathered in for a while, but eventually I gave it up.
Yep,
And
I was grandfathered on an AT&T unlimited plan for.
And you gave it up too.
I had
All
to.
three of us
I
did.
had to.
All three of us did.
I had to. If I wanted the iPhone 6,
Yep.
they don't have the plan anymore. You have to switch and you have to change your plan. Period. Because you actually don't buy the plan. You buy the phone, but it's subsidy, and you pay every month. You can't pay up front.
But on the
subsidized
flip
phone.
side, for us, I would hesitate to say, but I think it's probably accurate that either you're at home and you're on your own network, or you're out at a hotel somewhere and you can use the hotel Wi-Fi. Now, of course, hotel Wi-Fi sometimes sucks the big one.
Not with ProXPN, it doesn't.
That's right.
That's right.
Hotel Wi-Fi is a great use
look at
case for that.
Promotion opportunity right there.
Well, and a lot of times you're stuck in a place where your 3G, 4G connection is horrible or non-existent.
Mhm.
That's true.
I'm in a data center. I'm in. Here's a great use case for those that have kids, right? I'm in a school gym. Crap. There's no damn signal.
I am in the YMCA
Yes.
pool.
Yeah, and I just took an awesome picture of my kid, making a basket in a basketball game, and I have to share it on Facebook right now. And there's open Wi-Fi. Because you're in basically a Faraday cage, otherwise known as a basketball court, surrounded in concrete.
Yeah.
Not that this ever happened to you.
Yeah. Feel free to use all of this in your marketing, Mike. We're giving you some good
Just
material.
freebies are flowing left and
That's
right.
right. So, Mike, what does it cost to use your the ProXPN service?
The basic price works out to about $9.95 a month, but if they Google around, or I'm sure there'll be a coupon available for your show, we give very steep discounts.
There are,
so you can
actually. The discount code WEEKLY will save you 50% off for life.
There you go.
Which
So
is
it ends up
awesome.
ends up cutting quite a significant price of the product down. We've got add-on services that we're tacking on and beta testing right now, email anonymizers, as well as an unblock service that you don't have to use the VPN to watch Netflix. It's similar to the other unblock services out there. Basically does a handshake over an American IP and then switches you back to your regular IP. So you're not you're not trying to serve video over a VPN. All kinds of new stuff coming very soon.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that was actually my next question. So that's great. Any other questions for Mike? Mike, anything else for us?
Nope.
So I have 5 more questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't prep you on this, which is good. That's the way we like it, right? These are just 5 random questions. all right?
Everybody's
They're not so random.
They're not so random. They're ones that we've developed in-house. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. 3 words to describe yourself.
Oh boy. Is that not
That's
definitely
two.
true?
They could have said shit. Oh boy, that's 3. No, we're kidding. You got 3.
Permanent traveler, I guess. I have no idea. Permanent expat. Is that 3 words?
Yeah,
Expat.
well,
Expatriate.
If you divide
There
X
you go.
and Pat, that works.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. If you were a serial killer, what would be your weapon of choice?
Wild animals.
If you wrote a book about yourself, what would the title be?
What the hell was I thinking?
In the popular game of Ask Grabby Grabby, do you prefer to go first or second?
Always first.
Choose 2 celebrities to be your parents.
Alive, dead, fictional, or otherwise.
Oof, I don't even pay much attention to celebrities. Well, let's just go with rich people. Can they be gay? We'll put Bill Gates and Donald Trump together.
There you go.
There you go.
Yes, they can.
We have
indeed.
very loose rules about who you can choose to be
It
your
is in
parents. There
fact
really are no rules. Just two
It's
people.
a brand new world. You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
it is in
that's
fact
an
2016.
unlikely couple, I'm thinking, but
Although
okay.
you may want to be careful about that in Thailand.
I would pay money to see that.
For serial killer, I thought you were going to obviously like Muay Thai boxing. Are you taking Muay Thai when you're in Thailand?
Oh, hell no.
No, because it's serious
is
business
brutal.
in Thailand. Yeah, it's like no joke.
I've watched fights where little 10-year-old kids could beat the living snot out of me all day long.
Oh yeah. They're serious about that sport there. So, well, Mike, thank you very much for appearing on Security Weekly. Thank you for your support. I encourage everyone to go to proxpn.com, sign up for the service, recommend it to a friend using the discount code WEEKLY, and save 50% off for life. Mike, thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
With that, we're going to take a short break, come back with the security news for this week. So
Okay.
stay tuned.
Good. I get to go
Don't
sign up.
go anywhere.
I get to go sign up for ProXPN.